Welcome back to Q Dads, guys, and yes, it's me, Ben, and Foundation Season Three's official teaser is finally here, and the long wait is over. And you know what? Me and Steve have actually been rewatching this season already, and we're bringing you some of those rewatches very soon. It's something that we've been working on for a while, and it's why the channel's been a little bit quiet. But we were hoping to get some of them out before the teaser was released. But of course, who cares? It's out now. We're bringing you the content. Now, ultimately, Foundation was one of our first TV shows and actually was the show that got us monetized, so we owe a lot to this show. And of course, me and Steve are pretty much bred for sci-fi, so we enjoy the concept of Foundation. But of course, we don't cover book spoilers here. As always, we do theorise on the show alone. So we've only got 1 minute and 49 seconds to digest, thanks to Apple. But of course, before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button because like I said, we're going to be keeping you up to date with everything Season 1 and Season 2, as well as Season 3, of course, when it drops in July. And we love engaging with you guys. So hit the subscribe and let us know in the comments your thoughts. Now, the trailer opens up with some tense music and footsteps as we kind of divulge into the character of the Mule. But before we do, we get to see Gaal, as she says that nothing will ever be the same again. And if we remember back to when we last saw Gaal, she was getting into some kind of cryogenic freezing pod along with Hari, and the Mentalics were then watching their every move as they kind of prepared and hibernated for the future and that fight against the Mule. We then obviously see the footsteps leading up to the big reveal, but instead we get Day, who is now looking more rugged than we've usually seen him and seems to be hiding out somewhere. The voice of Hari echoes out that war is upon us. And already at this point, the visuals and cinematography in this trailer are outstanding. And if you can tell, and you've followed us before, we have a lot of love for this series. And just watching this teaser, I'm in awe of every single detail. So I'm actually going to start with a little bit of speculation early on in this. And is war actually the name of this version of day? So obviously we normally have dawn, day and dusk. And of course we do have the fourth, darkness. But what if war is now the fifth iteration? Either that, or could this be the day that escaped with Queen Sereth back at the end of Season 2 and has obviously grown into day? Because as we go through the trailer, it does make me think that we're experiencing two times, a bit like Sal and Gale's journey back in Season 1. Or could this version of Bearded Day actually be a grandchild of that Dawn that ran away with Sereth back in Season 2? Who knows? But of course, we then get the big reveal of the Mule, which Hari does say is the centre of the war. But I must say, during this part where he says that the centre, Demoiselles' image actually is shown on screen. So, actually, how connected will her and the Mule be? Now, heading back to the Mule for a moment, which I believe has actually changed actors, and they've moved away from the one who portrayed him at the end of Season 2 and moved to the new one, who obviously was well known for playing Euron Greyjoy in Game of Thrones. But already you can tell the difference, and rightly so. But realistically, he is a lot more youthful. He seems more alert, and those eyes are even more piercing with that brilliant blue. And again, we still don't actually know a lot about the Mule. Now, you know, it is some kind of time traveller, potentially, but a very strong mentalic that can step in and out of the past, as we saw him confront Gaal in Season 2 during a look forward. Now, just stemming on the Mule for a second and his backstory. What if the Mule is actually the child of that Dawn that escaped back at the end of Season 2? Or even a relative of that chain of kind of natural empires that weren't cloned anymore? Now again, no book spoilers, guys. So if you have read that and we are right, do not let us know. But that is our theory at the moment. But is he going through time and preventing Hari and the work that he does from actually coming about? Because Hari did predict a third chaotic event. And is that the Mule actually trying to stop? Or is the Mule actually the event itself? Now, during this scene, we do get a shot of the Mule talking to a young man who does remind me a bit like Hobermallow, but we're assuming that he is 100% dead. But in this scene, the mule seems to lack his distinct glowing blue eyes. Now, this is a massive indication for us actually getting to see the mule's backstory and the timeline throughout this season. Again, if that is the case, it does reinforce the theory of following separate times again. There is also a quick shot of what it looks like to be the mule trying to access the vault itself. Not sure how that's going to work and if he's actually going to be able to gain access or not. We then get to see a few shots of different planets, some ships exploding, and even some ships racing together with each other, which again, the cinematography is outstanding and I can't wait to learn more about these new locations. We then get a shot of an older gentleman, again with those piercing blue eyes. So is it safe to say that this is in fact the mule, but slightly older, a western looking version? Or is it just a completely different character and another mentalic? Or are we giving us the introduction to the mule is part of the race or the group who have those special eyes? Because again, we do see a shot of him with normal eyes. Now, this teaser so far is giving me a lot of mixed signals. It looks like we've moved away from other planets that we've explored in season 2. You know, as we were when we were going towards Tellenbond and through those rituals that Day went through. But we now seem to be fixated on more of a futuristic setting, which gives me more of those old classic sci-fi vibes like Total Recall and even Terminator. But of course, we do get the introduction into a few new characters, but we only see them briefly, so they're not really introduced at this moment, and for that purpose, I'm just going to kind of gloss over them and kind of wait for the actual trailer to know more. But it does look like someone is trying to take down one of the vaults, and for a brief second you can actually see the structure, which looks like a giant prime radiant. And we also see a planet getting destroyed and potentially a sun going supernova as it's glowing red with Hari looking on. Now, presuming that that shot is actually his own planet, Helicon, which he did mention was near a dying star, I believe. Now, we get a shot of Day suiting up like he's just walked off the set of Tron, which I actually think is a new bit of kit and looks pretty good, to be honest. And then we get Gaal jumping out some ship or a building and falling through the sky on some kind of metallic board. Again, does this have some ulterior function or is it just a bit of loose debris? But if she's falling towards a ship, and I'm not sure what's going on, but it does look fantastic. And then that's kind of it. That's where the teaser ends, giving us the date of the 11th of July, which is not long away. Now, before I dive into actually going to predict what's happening in season 3, I'm just going to give a quick, tiny, minuscule recap of what actually happened at the end of season 2. So, we ended with Demoiselle having become this all-powerful force, having killed Dusk and Rue, and framing Empress Sereth for the assassination attempt on Day. Dawn and Sereth then escape Trantor, with Sereth revealing that she's actually pregnant with a natural Cleonic heir, which is something that none of us expected at all, and that will be a great storyline to see how that is played out in season 3. We also had Gaal and Hari prepare for cryosleep, with Gale's mental powers becoming a significant factor in the future, meaning that Hari and Gaal are now facing the future together towards that third chaotic event that he predicted. And then the season ended with a flash forward to the Mule in prison, emphasising his desire to eliminate Gaal and the potential threat that she poses. Now, with all that being said, I like to think that obviously the series focuses around two main points. One is the whole Cleonic dynasty, where the new clones have been created. Day and Dusk are going to be protecting the Empire and trying to hunt down that clone of Dawn and this potential natural child of it all. Demoiselle is going to obviously try and get a handle on everything and stay the focus point, the centre of it all, as she has done for years and years and years. And then on the other hand, we have the Mule. And I believe that we're potentially going to see them throughout time and maybe stop Gaal, stopping him in a way. Strong forces at play, but of course Hari predicted all of this chaos. So they are now waking up to then face the Mule several generations later, potentially. And if so, how far has the Empire actually progressed during that time? And this all assumes that we stay in the current timeline. The show is not completely against time skipping, and with Hari and Gaal frozen, I I can't imagine we'll spend a lot of time with the current day hunting an escaped Dawn. I think we're more likely to jump into the season a few generations later, and we'll be seeing the great-great-grandchild of Dawn that escaped, and potentially them being the Mule. Either way, it's obviously too early to tell, and I can't wait for them to drop the official trailer, because remember, this is just a teaser. So probably in a month and a half, we're going to get the actual trailer drop. And yes, we will keep you covered. But of course, in the upcoming week, we will have a season 1 rewatch, then leading to a season 2, watching every detail from the beginning. So feel free to watch along with us, hit that subscribe button, and join us in the comments on the journey. And for all of those who have been with us for a while, we will be bringing back our cast. So me and Steve will be coming on camera. Yes, you'll get to see our lovely faces, and we'll just be speaking about the show. Almost kind of like our afterthoughts party. So we'll watch the episode and bring you our normal explained, but then we'll just get together and have a chat and just an open conversation about it. Who knows, we might even go live. So as always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time with something new.